My name is Maya, and I am 29 years old. That morning, I sat alone by my small kitchen window, holding a cup of coffee that had already gone cold. Outside, the sky was soft and gray, the kind of color that makes the world feel slow and heavy. Everything around me was quiet, almost peaceful, but inside my heart, a storm was moving. I looked at my reflection in the window, the tired eyes, the forced half-smile, and I knew something inside me had changed forever. And as I sat there, breathing in the stillness, I whispered to myself, "This is the story of the day I finally chose myself." A story I never thought I would have the courage to tell. I met Daniel when I was 12. I remember the first time he smiled at me. It felt like someone had turned on the lights in a dark room. His voice was warm, his eyes were kind, and for a long time, I believed he saw the real me, the Maya who dreamed big, loved deeply, and laughed easily. In the beginning, everything felt light. We walked for hours, talking about everything and nothing. He listened to my stories like they were the most important words in the world. He held my hand like he never wanted to let go. Back then, love felt simple. It felt safe. It felt like a home I had always been searching for. And I truly believed that love alone was enough to build a whole life on. Looking back now, I realize how innocent I was, how much hope lived inside me. Back then, I thought love was enough. I held on to that belief with all my heart. It didn't happen suddenly. It came quietly, like a small stone in my shoe. Something that didn't hurt at first but slowly became impossible to ignore. Daniel started breaking small promises. "I'll call you tonight," he would say. "I'll be there," he would promise. But the calls didn't always come. The plans didn't always happen. And each time, I told myself it was okay. Everyone is busy. Everyone forgets. But deep inside, a soft voice whispered that something was changing. Sometimes his eyes looked far away, like he was in another world. Sometimes his smile felt thinner, weaker, like he was hiding something behind it. I felt confusion, but I also felt fear of losing him. Fear of being alone again. So I ignored the whispers in my heart. I pushed away the red flags. I chose hope over truth, even when hope began to hurt. I didn't notice how I changed, not at first. It started small. Canceling dinner with friends, because he needed me. Stopping my weekend classes, because he said they took too much time. Putting aside my dreams because he said they were unrealistic. Piece by piece, I gave parts of myself away. And the scariest part, I didn't even realize it. I stopped laughing the way I used to. I stopped speaking up when something hurt me. I started walking carefully, choosing my words like I was afraid they would break something. I was strong for him, but weak for myself. I told myself this was love, sacrifice, compromise, patience. But deep down, I knew I was losing myself. I remember standing in front of the mirror one night, looking at a face I barely recognized. My eyes looked dimmer. My shoulders were always tense. My smile didn't feel like mine anymore. I kept telling myself I was fine, that love takes work, that this was normal. But the truth was simple. The more I held on to him, the more I let go of me. I remember the day everything broke. He had promised to come with me to an important family dinner, something that meant a lot to me. I had told him many times how much I needed him there, how much I wanted him to meet the people who shaped my life. He said he would come. He said he wouldn't miss it. But when the evening arrived, my phone stayed silent. No call, no message, nothing. I waited by the door until my legs felt numb. I checked the time again and again, hoping for footsteps, hoping for his voice, hoping for anything that showed he cared. When I finally reached him, his voice was cold, almost annoyed. He said he was busy with friends, like the promise he made meant nothing. And that was when I felt it. A sharp pain in my chest, like something had cracked open. It wasn't just that he chose others over me. It was the way he didn't even try to understand how much it hurt. It was the way my feelings didn't matter to him anymore. I felt betrayal not only because he broke a promise, but because he broke the trust I had built my world around. And as I sat alone in my car that night, staring at the empty seat beside me, I realized something powerful. This wasn't the first time he let me down, but it was the last time I would let it break me. That night, after the dinner, I went home and sat on the floor of my dark bedroom. I didn't turn on the lights. I didn't bother wiping my tears. I just let myself feel everything I had tried to hide for so long. The room was cold. My heart felt even colder. I thought about all the moments I waited for him, all the promises he never kept, all the love I gave without receiving it back. I thought about the girl I used to be, the hopeful, bright, loving girl, and how far she felt from me now. For the first time, I saw the truth clearly. I was lonely, even when I was with him. Love was not supposed to feel like this. As I sat there, shaking with quiet sobs, something shifted inside me. A soft voice rose from somewhere deep in my chest, stronger than the pain, stronger than the fear. And it whispered, "Enough." That single word changed everything. The morning after everything broke was strangely quiet. I woke up with swollen eyes and a heavy heart. But something inside me felt different, like a soft light had entered a dark room. The pain was still there, but it no longer controlled me. It just sat with me, like a guest who had finally told the truth. I went to the bathroom and looked at my reflection. My face was tired, but my eyes looked clearer than they had in months. It was as if a fog had lifted. As I stood there, breathing slowly, I realized something powerful and simple at the same time. I didn't need his love to feel whole. I needed my own love, my own respect, my own strength. That morning, for the first time in a long time, I saw myself again, and I knew what I had to do. When I met Daniel later that day, I expected fear to rise in my chest like before. I expected my voice to shake, my hands to tremble. But instead, there was only calmness, steady and quiet, like a deep breath held for years, finally being released. He tried to speak first, offering excuses that sounded too familiar. But I gently raised my hand and stopped him. "I'm not here to argue," I said softly. He looked confused, maybe even surprised. For so long, I had tried to fix everything, carry everything, forgive everything. But not today. Today, my words came from a place deeper than anger. They came from truth. "I can't keep breaking myself to hold this together," I told him. "I lost parts of who I am while trying to love you. And I can't do that anymore." His face changed, shock, frustration, sadness. But I stayed calm. For the first time ever, I wasn't afraid of losing him. Because I had already found myself. I looked him in the eyes and said the words that changed the direction of my life. "I am choosing myself today." There was no shouting, no dramatic goodbye. Just a quiet ending. And a quiet beginning. I went home, packed a small bag, and placed it gently by the door. My hands were shaking not from doubt, but from the weight of the moment. Leaving wasn't easy, but staying had become a slow kind of heartbreak. I walked through the apartment one last time. The rooms felt smaller than before, like they were finally showing me the truth I didn't want to see. When I touched the doorknob, a wave of sadness washed over me. But mixed inside that sadness was something else. Relief. I stepped outside, and the air felt different, softer, wider. The sky looked bigger, almost like it was opening up just for me. My breath felt lighter, even though tears were still falling down my cheeks. Every step away from that door felt like crossing a threshold. From fear to courage, from silence to truth, from losing myself to finding myself again. It wasn't a perfect walk. My feet felt unsteady, my heart hurt, but I kept moving, because some part of me finally believed I deserved a life where I didn't have to beg for love. With each step, I whispered inside, "You're doing it, Maya. You're really doing it." The first days alone were strange, quiet, empty, and yet strangely peaceful. I cooked simple meals for myself. Things I loved but had stopped making because he didn't like them. I walked to the park near my new place and listened to the birds, the wind, the soft conversations of strangers passing by. Little by little, I started hearing myself again, my thoughts, my dreams, my voice. I slept better than I had in months. No waiting for calls. No wondering where he was. No crying into my pillow, hoping things would change. There was still loneliness, of course. Sometimes it came at night, sitting beside me like an old friend I wasn't ready to let go of yet. But even in the loneliness, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Freedom. I began writing again, something I loved before I gave it up. I played music in the morning and danced around my tiny room, laughing at myself. I started rebuilding my self-worth, piece by piece, day by day, and slowly, joy returned, not the loud kind, but the soft, gentle kind that grows quietly inside the heart when it finally has space to breathe. For the first time in years, I felt like the world belonged to me again. One afternoon, as I sat in the park watching the sunlight move through the trees, I felt something shift inside me. For weeks, I had held anger for the promises he broke, for the tears he caused, for the way he made me feel small without even noticing. But sitting there, with the world moving softly around me, I realized something important. I didn't want to carry that anger anymore. Forgiveness wasn't for him. It wasn't to make him feel better or to fix anything between us. Forgiveness was for me. It was a way of putting down the heavy backpack I had carried for too long. So I closed my eyes and let myself feel everything: hurt, disappointment, love, loss. And then slowly, I let it all go. I forgave him for not being the person I needed. I forgave myself for staying longer than I should have. I forgave the girl I used to be, the one who tried so hard to be enough. And in that moment, something inside me softened. Something inside me healed. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't complete. But it was a beginning. Weeks later, I found myself sitting once more by a window, holding a warm cup of coffee. But this time, everything felt different. My heart was lighter. My spirit felt stronger. My smile was real. Choosing myself wasn't a single moment, it became a practice. A promise I made to my future. A path I walked every day. I learned that self-love is not loud. It doesn't shout or demand attention. It grows quietly, gently, in every small choice we make for our own peace. When I looked out the window, I felt gratitude, not for the pain, but for the strength it uncovered in me. And as I took a deep breath, I whispered to myself, the day I chose myself over him was the day I chose my life.